Writer and poet Nikki Giovanni has been a force to be reckoned with since she began her work in the African American community. Her passion for equality and civil rights is deeply rooted within her and is very evident in her work. She is the author of almost 20 poetry collections and 10 children's books, almost all of which aim to empower the African American community. She now adds Professor of English and Gloria D. Smith Professor of Black Studies at Virginia Tech to her resume. Her outstanding work, outspoken beliefs, and unapologetic demeanor has made her one of the world's most famous African American poets. Yolanda Cornelia Giovanni Jr. was born on June 7, 1943 in Knoxville, Tennessee, to parents Yolanda Cornelia Sr. and Jones Gus Giovanni. Yolanda's sister, Gary Ann, was almost 3 years old when Yolanda was born, and for reasons unknown, she started calling her baby sister Nikki. 2 months after Nikki was born, her family moved from Knoxville to Cincinnati, Ohio, so her parents could work as house parents at Glenview School, a home for black boys. Giovanni and her family moved around from suburb to suburb near Cincinnati, and continued to take frequent trips to Knoxville to visit her grandparents throughout her childhood. Nikki attended all-black schools for her entire school career since she grew up in a time of severe prejudice and racism. After high school, Giovanni moved to Tennessee to stay with her grandparents and attend Fisk University, her grandfather's alma mater, as an early entrant. Giovanni was expelled in February of her freshman year after having several problems with the Dean of Women and her ideas about the appropriate way for a Fisk woman to behave. In the fall of 1964, however, Nikki was able to return to Fisk with the help of the new Dean of Women at the university. Giovanni majored in history, but often participated in writers' workshops at Fisk. This is where she found her passion for writing, literature, and poetry. Giovanni has a very dominant presence in the African American community and has always remained at one with her roots. She credits her grandmother for instilling her with a passion for civil rights, which penetrated through much of Giovanni's early work. In June 1967, the young writer planned and supervised the first Cincinnati Black Arts Festival in hopes that it would spread awareness of arts and culture within the black community. She also organized Cincinnati's Black Theatrical Group, known today as the New Theater, while simultaneously providing social service at the People's Settlement House in Wilmington, Delaware. Giovanni moved to New York City in 1968 to attend Columbia University's graduate program for fine arts. Despite a generous grant from the Nation Foundation of the Arts, Virginia C. Fowler noted Giovanni simply could not work with the conservative white literary critics who tried to tell her that she could not write. The poet took matters into her own hands and published Black Judgment independently. That same year, she also took on her first teaching job as assistant professor of English at Queens College. Giovanni's first poetry collections, Black Feeling Black, Black Judgment, and Re-Creation, were literary hits. Black Feeling Black sold 2,000 copies its first year, while Black Judgment sold 6,000 copies during the first 3 months following its publication. Praised in the Black Writers of America anthology, Giovanni was mentioned as one of the few contemporary black writers to have made a constructively emotional impact on the collective racial ego of Black America. Since her start in literature and poetry, Giovanni has made it a point to empower the African American community. Many of Giovanni's books have received honors and awards. Her autobiography, Gemini, was a finalist for the National Book Award. Love poems, Blues for All the Changes, Quilting the Black-Eyed Pea, Acolytes, and Hip Hop Speaks to Children, a celebration of poetry with a beat, were all honored with NAACP Image Awards. Blues for All the Changes reached number 4 on the Los Angeles Times bestseller list, a rare achievement for a book of poems. Most recently, her children's picture book, Rosa, about the civil rights legend Rosa Parks, became a Caldecott Honors book, and Brian Collier, the illustrator, was given the Coretta Scott King Award for Best Illustration. Rosa also reached number 3 on the New York Times bestseller list. Shortly after its release, Bicycle's Love Poems reached number 1 on Amazon.com for poetry. Giovanni's honors and awards have been steady and plentiful throughout her career. The recipient of some 25 honorary degrees, she has been named Woman of the Year by Mademoiselle magazine, the Ladies' Home Journal, and Ebony magazine. She was tapped for the Ohio Women's Hall of Fame and named an Outstanding Woman of Tennessee. Giovanni has also received governor's awards from both Tennessee and Virginia. She was the first recipient of the Rosa L. Parks Women of Courage Award and has also been awarded the Langston Hughes Medal for Poetry. She is an honorary member of Delta Sigma Theta sorority and has received life membership and scroll from the National Council of Negro Women. A member of PEN American Center, which aims to advance literature and defend free expression, she was honored for her life and career by the History Makers, the nation's largest African American video oral history collection. She has received the keys to more than 24 cities. A scientist who admires her work even named a new species of bat he discovered for her. Black Enterprise named her a Women of Power Legacy Award winner for work that expands opportunities for other women of color. Yolanda Cornelia Giovanni Jr. was meant to be Nikki Giovanni from birth. Her role as a writer and poet in the African American community is unparalleled by anyone else in her field. She has made her presence known as an outspoken freedom fighter since before her career began. Nikki Giovanni stands for everything an African American woman, or a woman of any race, should strive to be. Giovanni stands up for what she believes in, makes her presence known, and demands respect for herself and her culture. Women of all ages and colors can learn something from Nikki Giovanni, and she will remain an iconic figure of African American culture for centuries to come.